So what would you be your final advice for teachers in terms of what things they need to process and unlearn and kind of figure out how to fix their role in terms of what others are able to do and what others are able to perceive during the classroom time?
I think, it's not necessarily something that you're going to transform overnight. I think it's not necessarily something that's going to happen overnight.
Yeah.
From the time when we first introduced this methodology and we started talking about it, we understood from the very beginning, just a couple of hours of attending a workshop is not going to be sufficient for completely turning around your pedagogy. But I think it's the beginning of a process for all of us. The idea that the intention is you need to take a moment, you need to take a step back and really be reflective about your own pedagogy and think about the messages that you transmit when you walk into a classroom. One of the examples I always gave to the hundreds of teachers I trained over the years was, I said, we have this concept. Number one, a lot of teachers claim, oh, I'm not political, right? I said, okay. So when you walk into your class, have you ever said to students, oh, it's important that you learn this language. It's important that you're bilingual. That's going to make you successful in life. And they say, oh, yeah, of course. I said, okay, well, that's good for you because you're reinforcing what you do. I said, but it's value laden and it is political because you're transmitting a concept to students that you're trying to get them to buy into. I said, so you need to take a step back and look at what you mean by that. Own your own political messages, right? And think about how they can impose something on students for better or for worse. And even when we think it's for better, from whose perspective? Is it from our own perspective, or are we truly being critical pedagogues and saying, am I presenting this in a non-value laden way that students are able to process the issues and maybe explore their own prejudices and their own, societal impositions in terms of how we understand things. So for me, my life as a student, as an educator, as a leader in some aspects, has been laden with a process more than a product. I mean, I've always kind of thought it was kind of funny, the people who say, well, we're not being, we're becoming, right? So it sounds kind of corny, maybe a little bit esoteric and maybe a little bit philosophical for some people, but it's true. I mean, the reason we're educators is because our focus is on the process. Now, ultimately, at different moments, we need you to produce, we need you to give us a product so we can assess and we can assign you a grade and you can move on with your life. But what we're ultimately about is the process. And not only for our students, but for ourselves. So if we truly want to believe that we can transform lives, and I believe it, then we need to become the type of teacher who we would like to learn from. And I think that concept of facilitation, guiding others, trying to understand and be sensitive to their needs and their interests, being interested in what they have to say, that care and love that teachers have, I think is critical to the type of facilitation and the type of language teaching that we hope for at Idiomas EAFIT.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.